smoke, clutching gears till the morning broke. Run my miles where the wild ones roam. The blacktop's fire, but it feels like home.
All right, I got a customer that's got a 271D transfer cases. The one that was in his truck isn't working. All it'll do is pull the front wheels. It will not go in two-wheel drive. So he went to the scrapyard unknowingly and bought one out of an automatic truck. The automatic and the manual NV5600 does not have the same input on the transfer cases because the output on the transmission is different. So we're going to be swapping the input shaft on the transfer case. If you turn over there, I already have pulled apart the one that is broken and taken the input shaft for the NV5600 out of it. So I'll be doing a walkthrough on how to swap the manual to automatic to manual input on the transfer case. First thing you want to do is take a pry bar and hammer, or a screwdriver and hammer, and get that front seal out. It's a little bit harder than that. Next, if you want to look down in here, there is a snap ring on your input shaft. You need to go ahead and get that removed before you lay it up on the table and break it apart. Alright, for the snap ring, I just use a pair of Pittsburgh pliers, the long ones. And I do have the right tool for it, but as you can tell, they are too big to fit down in there properly to get that out. So you put these down in here on the snap ring, pull them apart, and pull up. Work it up out of there, and then you can use a small pry bar or screwdriver just to work it the rest of the way up out of there. I do highly recommend doing this before you pull the transfer case apart, because it does make it a lot harder once it is all apart. Pops right up out of there. Now that you got it up on the table, you want to pull the tail shaft off the back of the transfer case first. It's a couple 13mm bolts. After you've got those out, take you a hammer of some kind. Dead blow probably works the best for this part, and just work around it, breaking the old seal. Once that breaks, take it off. All looks good. Sit it to the side. Now this is your pump for the fluid in your transfer case. The crooked angle needle nose work good. The straight ones work just as good, but I prefer these. There's a tube on the side of this. That's your pickup tube. Get a close up. You want to make sure and get that off before you start trying to pull this pump out. So you work it up out of there. Once it's out of the way, you just pop your pump out. Lay it to the side. Next, you've got a snap ring on the back side of this. Might be a pain to deal with, but for the most part, they normally come off pretty good. There you go. Get that one off and out of the way, and keep up with where these go as you're taking it apart. So kind of lay everything out in order. Next, you'll need a 10mm to take all 20-some bolts and split your main case. and there will be one 13 millimeter on the bottom middle ish. Right there it is. It's a pretty long bolt, so you'll easily remember where it goes. Keep up with it. All right, now comes to splitting the cases. These are a pain to split. See, a lot of people take pry bars and shimmy them back and forth between there. I found the easiest way is to take a hammer, if I can find it, like this, with a wedge on the end, and just tap that, flip it over, and do the same on this side. Once you do that, it comes apart fairly easy. So just tap around and use these blocks when you're hitting it. Don't hit any of this. That's what these blocks are made for. So pull this off. Now there is a screen in your pickup tube right there. That's where it goes. Lay that to the side. Now you've got spring, keep up with it. And now it's time to take your chain off. This is just the way that I prefer to do it. I don't know what is the actual recommended way to do it, but this is how I recommend doing it. Pull that snap ring off. They will fly out at you. You should be able to pull that off. Get that gear and the chain out of the way. And move this over. So now we got fluid everywhere. I just using a bucket down here in the floor and an old Sawzall blade to scrape the fluid back across the table and get it into the bucket. Now, gotta take this part apart. Get your output shaft for the rear out. So, come here, shake it. Comes right out pretty easy. Next, pull this rod and your shift fork out. Now, we gotta mess with this a little while. It's kind of hard to get out sometimes. Just gotta move your shifter around, fiddle with it. Comes out just like that. Next, see, this is where that big snap ring, or the little snap ring in the front, once you get to this point, that has to be out because there's another large snap ring inside of here. So if you take that out first before you pull all this apart, it makes it a lot easier to get this out. So now I just use a small pry bar or screwdriver, and you pop that out to the side. And once you pop it out to the side, you just kind of work it around, and it will make its way out of there. There that is. Now this pulls out. It's one big unit. Next, you have another snap ring on your input shaft. So you'll need to get a fairly small screwdriver, just the way I do it. Just put that on the little ear there, pop it out, work it around. There that is. And it's out. Let's put that back down there. Sit the automatic one to the side. Place this back down on here. And you have to roll it and wiggle it as you put it down on there. It should drop in pretty easy. Make sure to try to clean all the debris you can off of this as it goes together. You don't want none of that nasty, grimy all down in there. Work that down in there. on top. And we go back with our small snap ring for this. Push it back in place. Make sure it locks in good all the way around. There we go. And alright, now that you've got this back in here, make sure that the snap ring opening does not line up with these. You want it to have a full ring on those open spots. I set it back inside of here. And at this time you can put the snap ring on the outside of this if you want. It's up to you really whenever you do it. I would just prefer to go ahead and do it now. And this snap ring back on your input shaft. It's a squeeze to get on there. Once you get it over the beveled part, take something and work it down in there. Make sure and hold on the back side of your input shaft, that way it don't come back out on you there. You hear it click in, double check, look at it, make sure it's clicked in all the way around. It seems to be locked all the way around in there. Now we're gonna flip this back around and get back to our assembly. This little piece, your magnet, you're really gonna wanna clean that off pretty good if it has any metal shavings or anything already on it. Make sure you wipe it off good. That way that just don't stay in there whenever you put your new fluid back in. Clean this little area where it sits out. Slide it back in. Go ahead and, while you have the opportunity, clean your case around the outside pretty good. It'll help you later on whenever you're trying to butt these up together. I prefer to take a wire wheel on a bit driver around it. Just make sure not to get a bunch of material inside of the actual transfer case. Just gonna clean that up. Alright, now get you a clean rag. Wipe that down good. Just get anything and everything off of there that's going to prevent it from sealing back. Alright, wipe off the inside. Make sure it's all clean. Make sure you didn't, no bristles came off of that down in there. No gasket maker fell down in there. Now we got to put the big snap ring back in here on this piece. Just kind of put it in there, get one side started, and work it around. Use your small pry bar or screwdriver to get it popped back up into place. Now you just work it the rest of the way down in there, all the way around. Make sure it's seated down good. Make sure it's snapped in all the way. And you're good on that. Now we're just gonna do the reverse of what we just done, putting it back together. Whenever you put these forks back, look in here, check these. they look to be in okay shape. So make sure that's seated in there. Gear goes forward, drop it in, make sure your arm goes down in there, and click it back. Make sure it moves around. Next, this fork and this, so make sure that the thicker beveled piece goes forward in the transfer case. Make sure those are good. That right there is good. Slides right in, goes into here. Now you're gonna have to work your shifter a little bit to get that in the right spot to go in there. So once it's in the right spot, take and pick up your next piece. It should slide right in. You might have to fight with it a little bit. There we go. It's all in, seated. So now you can work this, make sure that pops in and out, disengages, engages. I'll leave it, get it back engaged and leave it there. Okay. Now we need to go back on with our gear and chain. Now to make it a little bit easier getting your chain and this other gear back on, pop this snap ring over here out. And just pull this gear back. And we'll sit it up on here. Get our chain aligned with this gear. Get this gear aligned. Now sit this one up on here. And you'll have to work with them a little bit to get them worked into place. But there we go, they're worked in. Now you take your snap ring you just took off, sit it up there, and work with it a little bit. Now it does go in that little cutout place in the splines right there. Don't just put it out here on this outer lip. Make sure it's in there good to where this can't move back and forth. Make sure it snaps in good, seated all the way around. Next, we want to get our snap ring that came from this gear. Do the exact same thing. It is the same way. It seats down in there behind that first little bit of splines where the cutout is. Make sure it's seated all the way around. Make sure, put your spring case up here. You just want to take something. I have these snap-on scrapers, and you just scrape any gunk or this old gasket material off. Once I have that scraped off, I will go back across it with a wire wheel on a brush or on a bit driver. So just go along here. Make sure to not hit your pickup while you're doing that. Make sure to turn around your alignment pins good. Just take your clean rag, wipe it down good, get all that oil off of it. Make sure there's not any gunked up around the edges of this. Now that you've cleaned it all off good, pull your pickup tube out, check it, make sure it's not clogged off, blocked off by anything. Once you've got it cleaned out good, get any of the gasket maker, anything that's fell down in there by your pickup out. Your pickup sits right down in that hole, just like that, and once you get it, should fall right back down in there. Clean that off good. Go ahead and wipe all this off again from my greasy hands. Alright, this will be the sealant I'm using for this. It's the Permatex gear oil gasket maker. It's made for differentials transfer cases.
Avoid getting the sealant directly on the bolt holes. Kind of just go around them just like I'm doing here. Just build you a big wall all the way around. And after we get the first pass around it done, we will make another pass on the top side of those bolt holes. Just make sure and get it all sealed up really good.
Other case, slip it just down on there like that. Make sure that your fork spring aligns, make sure this aligns good. Just give it a good push down there. And then you can go ahead and put all your bolts back in around that. Now the one longer 13 millimeter will go right there below that little notch, and then just start laying in all your other bolts. Get them all started by your hand. Now we're gonna start with that 13. We're just gonna snug them all down for right now. 13 snug down. Now we go to the 10s. Now it does recommend on the gasket maker to let that sit for around an hour to give the gasket maker time to cure before you actually tighten those on down further. Alright, once you've got all your bolts tightened down, just snug down a little bit with the impact, gave it time to cure for the gasket maker, I'm just gonna use a ratchet and socket to tighten those rest of the way down. That's the way I recommend doing it, because this is aluminum case.
So just start around it, snug them all down pretty good.
And don't forget about your 13 millimeter bolt on there. Once you've got all those tightened down good, I mean, you can run them on in with the impact. I just feel that if you don't know the feel of an impact is good, it's better off to just go ahead and be safe and run them down by hand with a ratchet. Now put it back up on the table for your last snap ring. That one, this one, it goes all the way in past those splines and back into that last little notch. Make sure snap it on both sides. Make sure it's snapped in all the way around, even on the bottom. Now, go ahead and give this just a good wipe down. Get that old gasket maker off around the edges.
Use a hand scraper or whatever. Get that. Once again, just use a brush on a bit driver. Clean it up good, get all the gunk and gasket maker and everything out of the way. Might be some old gasket maker that's weaseled its way down into here. Make sure to scrape all that out. Wipe this out, get all that out of there from where that pump goes, clean it out good.
Now, you'll take your pump, clean it off good. That old gasket maker gets everywhere. Okay, now we go back in with this. Make sure that where your pump goes, or your pickup tube for your pump, is lined up at the right spot. Lined up on those splines. Wiggle it back and forth. Get it pushed in. Go back with your same pliers you used earlier. Pick it up and get it back in there for the pump. Make sure it gets seated all the way down in there good. Just like that. You can see it's seated all the way down in there on that. Wipe it, clean it all off. Now get your tail shaft back. And you're gonna just do the same thing.
Get the old gasket maker off of it. Get out all those little corners. And the outside edge. Once you get all the big stuff out of the way, you can just go back around it with the wire wheel brush. Give it a good wipe down, clean off, get any of the gunk from inside of it, all the little corners around the edge.
Now you can go ahead and, while it's sitting up here, go ahead and get your gasket maker and put it around here, just like that.
Okay.
So same as the other, with the gasket maker, once you get it on here, snug it down, let it sit. Make sure this little piece is lined up with your pump. Goes on just like that. Get your bolts, get them just hand started in there, enough to hold it up. Push it in good. And get your 13 with the impact and just run those down.
Run them snug, they don't have to be exactly tight. Just snug enough to mash that gasket maker in a little bit.
Now, let it sit and let that cure. All right, now, after you've gave that time to set up, cure, I'm just gonna go around and impact these down. They're a little bit bigger, a little harder to strip out.
Double check them also.
And you're all set. Put it back into gear. See the front spinning, and when the front spins, the back spins. So go through all your gears, make sure everything spins like it should. Right there's two-wheel drive, front's not spinning. There's your other four-wheel drive high. Front spinning, back spinning. And make sure to go ahead and get you a new gasket, or a new seal for this, and a new seal for the rear, and you're all good. Make sure to like, subscribe, and comment.